Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to my fellow judges and participants. Now, today I would like to voice my opinion about the motion that has been given to us. Now, I strongly agree with the motion that this household would criminalize individuals and or organizations that do not recycle. And here are my reasons why. Let's start with something more simple. What is recycling? Why do we need to recycle? Why is it so important to recycle? Now, recycle or recycling is a process of collecting materials that are thrown away, like trash, and then we turn them into more useful and new products that we can use. Recycling itself is an alternative way to prevent the disposal of potentially useful materials. It can also help with lowering the greenhouse gas emission that causes global warming. And it can also reduce energy use, and it can prevent air pollution and, of course, water pollution. Now, you all might be asking me, why criminalize these individuals and organizations? Isn't that a bit too harsh on them for just throwing trash to needless places? Let me tell you. By not recycling, it can, of course, harm the environment around us. Let's take an example for one. If you throw waste into large bodies of water, such as lakes, rivers, even more importantly, oceans, it can cause a lot of damage into the ecosystem. Now, did you know that the waste that you throw into the water can actually deplete the oxygen in the water? Now, that results into marine life having poor health or even dying in the waters. Now, there's another reason, which is plastic bags or plastic bottles and such like that can actually cause animals to choke on them, either by getting caught in the plastic or accidentally eating them because they thought that's their food. Now, I've told you what happens to marine life. Then what about humans? Well, the waste that we throw can actually transport chemical pollutants into the water that can make it toxic for us. So, people who use said bodies of waters for, bathing, washing their clothes, or even drinking it, it can cause them a lot of damage to their health. And, of course, most importantly, throwing waste into waters can actually cause coastal erosions, which causes landslides that can cause a lot more damage than anything. Now, I've told you what happens to waste if you throw it into the water. What happens if you throw it on the ground that we stand on? Now, solid waste that is buried and or illegally dumped underground can cause a thing called soil pollution. Now, the soils that have these solid waste can actually make the ground toxic for us, which of course affects our health. It can cause poor harvest of food that makes, of course, our food resources deplete. And it can also even cause desertification. Now, if you don't know what desertification means, it means that the water inside the soil itself is, starting to not be there. It's caused because the waste inside the soil actually just takes the water itself. And by that, it causes the soil to be dry and very just not moist at all. And those are really the reasons and examples that I can give you. Thank you so much for listening to my arguments on this motion. I just hope everyone can understand that by recycling the waste that we have, either it be plastic or aluminum or even anything that we can recycle, of course, we can actually protect our environment and just make the earth a more clean and healthy place for those in the near future and for animals and just a nice, amazing place. Thank you once again, to my fellow judges and participants for listening. Now, if there are any mistakes that I have made, I hope you can forgive me. I am human after all, and we're not all perfect. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye.